Gather close. Let your senses ignite. For words of wisdom, bathed in ancient light.
We're focusing just on one chapter from a, well, truly revered ancient text, the Srimad Bhagavad Gita.
Specifically Chapter 5. And Chapter 5, sometimes called the Yoga of Renunciation of Action, it tackles this dilemma. How do we find, real inner peace when life is so busy, so full of action? All right. I'm Satosha.
And I'm Satoshi. And just a note on our approach, we'll be presenting the verses, poetically, taking them slow, letting the rhythm and wisdom sink in. Where do we start?
Picture this setting. Arjuna, the great warrior, he's in a tough spot, facing this huge internal conflict.
And he poses this really crucial question right at the beginning in verse 1. Renunciation of deeds, O Krishna, you commend. Then yoga of action, both you extend. Of these two, which is better? Tell me now. With certainty, this truth to me avow.
Action versus a kind of renunciation of action. Renouncing deeds, you say, brings highest good. Yet acting wisely, too, is understood. Of these twin paths, which one will truly save? With certainty, dear Lord, your answer I crave. He's asking, point blank, which one is definitively better?
And that's really our mission for this episode, to explore these two paths as Chapter 5 lays them out.
Okay, so let's hear the response. Verse 2.
Renunciation and yoga of action both. Unto the highest good their followers doth. Yet of these two, this truth I will impart. The yoga of action excels with all its heart.
Renunciation and the yoga of action's way. Both lead the seeker where the bright realms lay. Both paths lead to the highest good. Yet of these two, let this clear truth be known. The yoga of action has the higher crown.
So there is a distinction made. Both are good, but the yoga of action acting wisely with detachment is presented as superior.
Which leads nicely into verse 3, I think.
He should be known as ever renounced in mind, who neither hates nor any wish does find. From dualities freed, O mighty armed one true, with ease from bondage he will break through.
He should be marked as always free within, who feels no hatred, holds no yearning sin. From dualities released, O warrior bold, he braced from bondage, as the wise have told.
It's not just stopping actions externally.
Right. It's an inner state, always free within.
Free from being pushed and pulled by likes and dislikes, hatred and desire. That's the key.
So it's less about physical inaction and more about mental detachment.
Which connects back to why the yoga of action might be preferred. You can practice this inner detachment while still living and acting in the world.
Okay, moving to verse 4. It seems to tackle a potential misunderstanding. As different paths, the simple minds will sight wisdom's deep knowing and action's guiding light.
Right, so some people might see the path of knowledge or wisdom and yoga, the path of action, as totally separate things.
But one with purpose, truly followed through, bears the same fruit for those with clearer view.
Following either path sincerely leads to the same result. Next verse really drives this home. The state that those by wisdom's path attain, by yoga's practice, men likewise can gain. Who sees that wisdom and true action blend, indeed with clearest vision does transcend.
That state which minds by wisdom's path attain. The doers find through action's discipline and strain. Who sees that wisdom and true action blend as one, possesses sight that's clear beneath the sun.
So the ultimate clarity comes from seeing these aren't separate, but actually interwoven. Wisdom informs action, and action deepens wisdom.
But then verse 6 offers a bit of a reality check. Renunciation, though noble be the aim, is hard to reach without the active yogi's flame. The sage in yoga, grounded, pure and bright, to the supreme soul soon takes his effortless flight. So, action, done right, prepares the ground for true renunciation. It's not an obstacle, but potentially a necessary step. Okay, so what does this person, this sage in yoga grounded, look like? Verse 7 paints a picture. In yoga from with spirit cleansed and free, self-mastered, senses held in mastery, who sees a self in all that life contains. Though acting, yet no stain his pureness gains.
Seeing the same self, the same divine essence in all beings.
And because of that perspective, even when they act, they aren't tainted by the action. Verses 8 and 9 seem to elaborate on this detached perspective while acting.
The knower of the truth, though senses play, in seeing, hearing, touch, smell, taste each day.
In speaking, letting go, in grasping tight, in opening and closing eyes to light, he deems the senses move in their domain. This thought shall in his steadfast mind remain. Those senses play their part in seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, heart by heart, in speaking, moving, taking, letting go with ease, and opening and closing eyes as moments please. He knows the senses in their orbits turn and glide. This steadfast knowing is his constant guide.
The person who knows the truth understands that even when they are seeing, hearing, speaking, moving, it's actually the senses interacting with their object. And the inner self, the true I, is just the observer of this process. There's a detachment from the idea, I am the one doing this. It keeps them anchored in their true identity, separate from the activities themselves.
Which connects to verse 10.
Who casts his actions upon Brahman's shore, and shedding all attachment evermore, he is not stained by sin, though deeds unfold, like lotus leaf untouched by waters cold.
Who lays his actions on the Supreme's vast shore, and casts away attachment evermore. He is not touched by sin, though deeds unfold, like lotus leaf by water's touch unrolled.
Such a perfect metaphor. The lotus leaf sits on the water but doesn't get wet.
So the person who offers their actions to the divine, to Brahman, and completely lets go of attachment to the result.
They remain untainted by the action's consequences, even if the action itself might seem sinful or negative in a conventional sense.
Because the motivation is pure, and there's no selfish clinging to the outcome.
That offering, that dedication, and the shedding of attachment are what provide the protection, like the waxy surface of the lotus leaf.
Verse 11 then clarifies how yogis perform action.
With body, mind, and intellect serene, or even senses pure and clear and keen, the yogis act, all fond attachments cast, for cleansing of the self until the last.
With body, mind, and intellect serene and pure, or even senses focused to endure, the yogis act, all clinging far removed. For inner cleansing, steadily they're moved.
So it's not just physical actions. Actions performed by the body, sure, but also by the mind.
All can be part of yoga, if done without attachment.
The goal isn't worldly success, but self-purification.
That really reframes the whole idea of activity, doesn't it? Every action becomes an opportunity for inner work.
Absolutely. It transforms daily life into spiritual practice.
Now, verse 12 draws a sharp contrast between the results of this approach and, well, the opposite.
Yes, the disciplined versus the undisciplined.
The disciplined, renouncing fruit of every deed, attains a peace where lasting roots proceed. The undisciplined, by selfish cravings led, attached to fruit, in binding chains are bred.
The disciplined, renouncing action's fruit, attains a lasting, deeply rooted pursuit. The undisciplined, by desire led, attached to fruit, in bondage, will be bred. So attachment to results driven by desire leads to bondage, being caught in binding chains.
It's quite stark. Peace versus bondage, depending entirely on your relationship to the outcomes of your actions. Verse 13 then describes the state of someone who has really mastered this inner renunciation.
Yes, the self-controlled individual. All actions mentally renouncing quite. The self-controlled embodies nine-gated sight, dwells happily, not acting, causing none. His peaceful, liberated course is run.
All actions mentally renouncing, still and calm. The self-controlled finds peace, a soothing balm, in body's nine-gated dwelling without strain. He neither acts himself nor causes pain.
So they live happily in the body, the nine-gated site or dwelling.
The nine openings, eyes, ears, nostrils, mouth, etc., are connection points to the world.
Right. They live within this body, but having renounced actions mentally, they feel completely at peace, as if they aren't acting or causing action at all.
It's that observer state again, but taken to a profound level of inner stillness.
A state of being in the world, but not truly of it, in a sense.
But then who is responsible for action, if not the individual soul, and not directly the Lord? Verse 14 addresses this.
A very important clarification here. The Lord creates not agency for deeds, nor actions, nor their link to what precedes. As fruit, it is inherent nature's sway that sets all beings moving on their way.
The Lord creates not agency nor deeds design, nor links the action to the fruit that will align.
But nature's currents, inherent and unseen, propel all beings on their destined scene.
Nature's currents, svabhava, inherent nature. So our own tendencies, our psychophysical makeup, that's what drives action.
So where does it come from? Inherent nature's sway, prakriti, the material nature.
Exactly. It's the gunas, the modes of material nature, and our own conditioning and tendencies within that nature that impel action and create consequences.
And verse 15 builds on this, clarifying the Lord's role further.
Okay.
The Lord receives no sin, no virtuous deed from anyone, but knowledge fails to heed, obscured by ignorance, so mortals stray, and wander in delusion's darkened way. The Lord accepts no sin, no righteous art from anyone, but ignorance holds the heart, obscuring wisdom, so all beings stray, and wander lost in shadows of dismay.
So the divine remains impartial, not taking on our good or bad deeds.
Right. It's our own ignorance, our lack of true knowledge, that veils wisdom and causes us to become deluded and suffer. Ignorance is the root cause of entanglement.
But thankfully, there's an antidote. Verse 16.
Yes, the power of knowledge. But when by knowledge ignorance is slain of their own self, then shines in bright domain that knowledge like the sun in radiant might, revealing Brahman's supreme endless light.
What a beautiful image. But when by wisdom ignorance is overthrown, then knowledge shines on its radiant throne, revealing all like sun in brilliant sky, the supreme truth where endless glories lie.
Knowledge destroys ignorance like the sun dispels darkness.
And this knowledge isn't just facts, right? It's a deeper wisdom.
It's the knowledge of the true self, of the ultimate reality. And when that dawns, it reveals the supreme truth.
So what about those who attain this wisdom? Verse 17 describes them.
With intellect on that fixed, self-merged in that, devoted, finding refuge where they sat, they go whence no return shall ever be, their sins washed clean by wisdom, pure and free.
Mind fixed on that, the supreme reality. With minds on that fixed firm, their selves in that embraced, devoted souls in that alone their refuge placed, they go where no return shall ever be their plight, their errors cleansed by wisdom's pure and radiant light.
Their whole being is focused on and merged with that, the supreme reality, Brahman.
Intellect, fixed, self-merged, refuge taken. Their past errors, their negative karma, is cleansed by this wisdom. It's a state of no return to the cycle of birth and death.
A state of final freedom.
Now, verse 18 presents a really striking consequence of this wisdom. How such a person sees the world.
Yes, this is quite revolutionary. The wise see with an equal steady gaze, a Brahmin learned in virtue's gentle ways, a cow, an elephant of mighty stride, a dog, and even one cast far aside.
The wise behold with vision clear and even. A Brahmin learned, treading virtue's heaven, a cow, an elephant of strength untold, a dog, and one from honored ranks expelled.
Equal vision. They see the same essential reality in everyone and everything.
From the highest caste Brahmin to the outcast, the pariah.
And even across species barriers, the cow, the elephant, the dog.
The outer form, the social status, the species, none of it matters to their perception of the underlying truth. It's radical equanimity.
They see the same self shining in all. That cuts through all social hierarchies, all species differences. It's seeing the divine essence everywhere.
It's a hallmark of true wisdom. And verse 19 emphasizes the immediate result of this equanimity.
Even in this life, the world is overcome by those whose minds and equipoise have become. For Brahman is flawless, equal, pure, and bright. Therefore, in Brahman, they find their true sight.
Even here on earth, the world is overcome by those whose minds in balanced peace have become. For the Supreme Soul is flawless, equal, pure, and bright. Therefore, in the Supreme Soul, they find their truest sight.
The person whose mind reflects that equality is essentially abiding in Brahman.
Their inner state matches the nature of ultimate reality, so they are grounded in it, established in it. Verse 20 gives more characteristics of this steady-minded person.
Not overjoyed by pleasant things they find, nor troubled when the harsh and bitter bind. With steady mind, unclouded, clear and strong, the Brahman knower to Brahman does belong.
Steady mind, not overjoyed when pleasant fortune calls, nor sorrowing when bitter hardship fall. With mind serene, unwavering and strong, the knower of the Supreme Soul, that they belong.
They're not thrown off balance by good news or bad news.
No extreme highs, no extreme lows, just a steady, unwavering mind.
Exactly, anchored in Brahman.
So where does their happiness come from, if not from external things?
Verse 21 explains. The self, unattached to contacts from without, finds joy within where no shadows flout. His soul in Brahma Yoga finds its rest, and knows a happiness forever blessed. The self detached from outward senses play finds joy within that darkness cannot sway. They discover a deeper, unshakable happiness within themselves.
And the verse continues. His soul in union with the Supreme finds rest, and tastes of bliss forevermore possessed. Unlike the fleeting pleasures mentioned in verse 22.
For pleasures born of senses' fleeting touch are verily the wombs of sorrow much. They have beginning end, O Kunti's son. The wise in such delights find pleasure none.
Because they're temporary. They begin, they end. For joys that spring from senses' fleeting touch are truly wombs where sorrows gather much. They have a start, an end, or Juna bold. In such delights, the wise no pleasure hold.
Pleasures born from sensory contact are described as wombs of sorrow. They have a beginning and an end. They're impermanent. And because the wise understand this.
They don't seek lasting joy in them. They know it's a dead end for true happiness.
Right. They look elsewhere inward.
Okay, but achieving this state requires strength, doesn't it?
Verses 23 and 26 come back to self-control, specifically mentioning desire and anger.
Yes, mastering these powerful forces is presented as essential for liberation and happiness.
Verse 23. Who can withstand, ere from this body freed, the driving force of anger, lust, and greed? That person is a yogi, truly blessed. In lasting happiness, he finds his rest.
Who can withstand, while in this earthly frame, the urgent force of anger, lust's hot flame? That person is a yogi, truly great, and finds in lasting joy his destined state.
So, being able to withstand the powerful impulses of desire, lust, and anger, it requires conscious effort and self-mastery.
Verse 24 then circles back to describe the inner world of this successful yogi, whose joy is inward peace his stay, whose inner light shines bright along his way. That yogi, now the Supreme Spirit one, attains the supreme bliss, completely one.
It reiterates that their joy, their peace, their guiding light, it's all internal.
They are self-luminous, you could say.
And because they've achieved union with the Supreme, they attain supreme bliss, nirvana, complete liberation and peace.
Verse 25 adds another dimension, the attitude of these enlightened beings towards others. The seers, their doubts all banished, sins erased, their inner selves on wisdom firmly based, engaged in welfare of all living kind. The peace of the Supreme Soul they surely find.
So their sins are gone, doubts shattered, they're firm in wisdom.
Verse 26 reinforces the state of those free from inner turmoil.
from lust and anger utterly set free, for striving souls whose minds in control be, who know the self on every side is found, the peace of Brahman's liberation crowned.
From lust to anger utterly set free. For striving souls whose self-controlled shall be, who know the self that everywhere resides, the peace of the Supreme Soul in them abides.
Control over the mind, knowledge of the omnipresent self.
Then the chapter gives some practical meditation instructions in verses 27 and 28.
Excluding outward contacts, senses all, and fixing gaze where eyebrows gently fall. Making the breath within the nostrils flow, in balanced measure coming to and fro.
Pranayama regulating the breath, balancing the inhale and exhale.
The sage whose senses, mind, and reason tames, whose highest aim liberation proclaims, from wish, fear, anger utterly released, is evermore in liberation feasted.
So by controlling senses, breath, mind, intellect, aiming solely for liberation, free from desire, fear, anger. It shows a practical path, a technique to help achieve that inner control and focus discussed earlier. And finally, verse 29 provides the capstone understanding, the ultimate knowledge that brings peace.
The culmination, yes, what needs to be known.
Knowing me as the enjoyer, ever near, of all self-offering, austerities held dear, the sovereign Lord of all the worlds that be, in front of every soul, both far and free, he gains the peace that shall forever last.
Krishna here speaking as the supreme, as the ultimate recipient of all sacrifices and efforts.
As the supreme Lord of everything.
And, crucially, as the friend of every soul, the selfless well-wisher of all beings.
Quite a journey through just one chapter, isn't it? From Arjuna's confusion about action versus inaction.
Through the understanding that mindful action is often superior, the importance of inner detachment, seeing the divine in all,
Developing equanimity, finding inner joy, controlling the mind.
and culminating in this ultimate realization of the divine as the Lord and friend of all, which is the key to lasting peace.
Showing how inner detachment is the core, whether you're acting or seemingly inactive.
And emphasizes that selfless action, karma yoga grounded in this understanding, is a powerful means to purification and liberation, often more practical than attempting outright cessation of activity.
So perhaps a question for everyone listening to reflect on is,
How can you act without being quite so attached to the specific results? How can you cultivate a bit more of that inner balance when things go well or when they don't?
it's definitely food for thought. How to find more peace and clarity right where you are.
And we really do encourage you to maybe revisit these verses, let them sit with you. This episode is just, well, scratching the surface of their depth.
Absolutely. Let the rhythm and the meaning kind of percolate.
If you found this valuable and want to continue exploring this incredible text with us, please do consider subscribing to the podcast. Yes.
To close, let's return to that guiding insight from verse 2, perhaps leaving its melody with you. Renunciation and the yoga of action's way. Both lead the seeker where the bright realms lay. Yet of these two, let this clear truth be known, the yoga of action has the higher crown. Om Tat Sat?
Om Tat Sat.